Hello everyone, and welcome back to Corathon. My name is Atitri, and I'm just having a lovely, comfy time as we get here. My East Coast friends, what do we call this time of day? Does it go from afternoon to late afternoon? Do you go straight to evening when it hits 5 o'clock? To everyone, wherever and whenever you are when you hear the sound of my voice, I welcome you. We're so glad to have you here with us for a very special marathon, a mutual aid fundraiser with friends helping friends, raising money for Cora, a friend of the speedrunning community who is looking to move to a place that will accept her for who she is, which is so important. Due to anti-trans legislations in the state of Texas, Cora needs help with moving expenses so that she can safely move to a state with LGBTQ plus friendly laws and communities. So we are all here putting on this marathon to support and provide for a trans friend in need, and we are so grateful for any donations that you're able to provide to help. Type !donate in chat to learn more about your options for donating, which you can do through either the GoFundMe campaign that is set up, through the !donate command in chat, or you can donate directly to Cora's Venmo as an alternate option. Helps avoid GoFundMe fees, and you can find that through the donate command in chat as well. Whichever option you feel comfortable with, whatever is within your means, we appreciate you very much, and we have something available for everyone to donate to an amazing cause. All right, let's take a quick look at our answers. Chat says awake. Yes, yeah. No, this time on a Sunday, that's about as much as any of us can ask for. I do also want to let you know that in some of these places where you're making donations, the ability to enter a comment up front isn't the most obvious. I missed it the first time I donated. If you get to the point where you make a donation through the GoFundMe in particular, I can tell you, first, we appreciate you very, very much. And second, once you make a donation, if you go to the little lead on the right-hand side under the total, you can see donations that have been made, including your own. And if you click on your donation there, it'll actually let you go in. You can edit things like the visibility if you want any of us to see your name, and you can make an edit to a comment there. So if you'd like to donate and put that donation paired up with a comment, and potentially put it towards any of our incentives, including the ones coming up for Stardew Valley in just a few runs here, as you can see on your screen right now. That would be amazing. You can do that by appending a comment talking about the incentive you would like to donate to with your donation. I'm getting some pings in my ear, so I'm going to do just a last double check to make sure we're good. But I think we should be ready for our Flipside Pit of 100 trials. The voices in my ear say yes. So it's time for Super Paper Mario with Cats4ever. Let's go!
All right, hello everybody. My name is Cats4ever. You can just call me Cat. Joining me today, I have Sacred Ghost. And we're going to be doing a speed run of the Pit of 100 Trials. So I've got my file ready. On go, would you be able to start the timer?
Definitely. Well, all right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Alrighty. And we're off. Yeah, so coincidentally, today is actually, the anniversary of the release of this game.
Yes.
It came out 16 years ago today.
Yep, and despite the fact that it's now old enough to drive, we're going to have a much more practiced driver. And it's going to be in the side seat as you do your thing. So how about you tell us a little bit about this category?
Yeah, so like I said, this category is a speedrun of the Flipside Pit of 100 Trials. There's 2 pits in this game. We're going to be doing the Flipside pit. It's basically, you start from a fresh file, and the objective is to get to the pit as fast as you can and beat it.
Basically, basically what it is a short version just to introduce runners who come into the community. It's a short category that's usually around an hour and a half to 2 hours, where you play through chapter 1 and then go through 100 rooms of enemies.
You know, as somebody who has been around the speedrunning community since like 2011, 2012, but didn't actually get into running until just last year, I love that idea so much. You know, we talk about accessibility in so many different ways, but the idea of runs which aren't, especially for RPGs, people who love RPGs, to have a run that isn't 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 hours long is another really important form of accessibility.
Yeah, unfortunately, this game has only one theoretical sequence break that would save over an hour, but other than that, it is still linear and 4 hours long for the average runner. So having pit percent as a short category that's easy to follow and accessible to basically any version of the game, it's a pretty fun category to run and race. We've just recently had some birthday races, and they were really fun. We've had like 12 racers.
And you won that race.
Okay, well, yes, that's not the point.
Modesty.
Very
good.
Fun.
So basically, for the first 5.5 minutes of the game, or for 6 minutes, depending on who you are, it's just pushing 1 and 2 together, going to one objective, talking to who we will see has a beautiful mustache, and then we will be into chapter 1 where the actual gameplay starts.
Yeah, there's not much to this part of the game. Just a lot of mashing.
Basically, the butterfly Tippy is like, yo, the world's gonna end. You look like this guy written in this book. I'm gonna friend you now, and we're gonna go on an adventure. And of course, Mario being Mario, he agrees.
This was the era for that sort of thing, wasn't it?
I wouldn't be surprised if 95% of all Mario games since the 2000s have been like that.
Oh no, I just meant the idea of, you know, being friended. Tippy is putting Mario in its top 10 on MySpace.
True, yeah. Yeah, 2007, that was the day of MySpace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Facebook was still colleges only, something like that. I might be thinking a little bit earlier than that.
God, we're old.
2007 was the year I graduated high school.
Oh, never mind, you're old.
You're welcome. I'm happy to help other people feel better. Hey, I did say I'd been, you know, the speedrun adjacent since like 2011.
Yeah, I guess that makes a little more sense.
Chat talking
Considering
about
I graduated
what
3
is it?
years
I think
ago through COVID.
Ooh, sorry to hear that. Chat talking about Fave 5s and phone plans. I think that was a T-Mobile thing. Yeah, you know, the 5 people you could text without running up against your talk and text limits.
So basically right there, we just fell off the tower. That actually saves, like, I want to say almost a minute just from jumping off a tower. All because the programmers were like, it's a free shortcut. All it does is skip, like, text boxes and going through 2 separate elevators, but obviously for speedrunning's sake, it's vital.
Yeah, no, you can't just like that. It sounds to me like they were thinking, oh, you know, people might play this more than once, so you should give them some concessions here and there.
I think we jump off the tower a total of 8 times during the run. Actually, no, 9.
Excellent.
Just to save time. Unfortunately, we won't see it in pit percent, but there is a glitch known as gold bar clipping, where essentially is the bread and butter of many out of bounds glitches in this game. You throw the gold bar and you use an ability to get skinny against a wall. And if you jump into the gold bar while holding a direction towards the wall, you will have a very, very odd state where you can just hold a direction and go straight through anything. And it's used multiple times to jump off the tower, skip bosses sometimes, skip entire levels. It's pretty much the biggest sequence breaks that we have in the game, but not big enough to the point where it skips entire chapters. It's fascinating how far this game has came in the last 6 to 7 years. Because originally, for example, the any percent time, a good time used to be a 420, and now it's like a 345. So it's
nice
like
and also
nuts. Yeah, without sequence breaks, like major ones, that's insane.
Absolutely. So all that's going on right now is we just entered the chapter 1 door. We're just going through some more cutscenes right now. And we'll be on our way into chapter 1 soon.
Yeah. Chapter 1, your basic level 1. It has many different resemblance to old Mario level 1s. Has a nice soundtrack, like what more could you ask for?
Oh yes. Lots of great music in this game.
Oh, for sure. I don't have a playlist downloaded, you do.
I do. Alright, here we are, chapter 1. Not a lot going on here.
And as all of the
We're
old
gonna make
heads
our
in
way
the
to a
chat
house.
talk about how old they are, someone chimes in with, I was born in 03. which again, you know, is almost the age of, you know, being able to drink, so.
Yeah.
Let's not think about that while we continue to go fast.
Yeah.
Ooh, look, learning how to use the Wiimote. That's handy.
Yeah. Basically, Tippy is useful in only like 3 different parts of this game. You point at your screen maybe 3 times ever, only once ever in pip percent, and we'll never have to use Tippy again. Well, actually, no, that is not true. We get to use Tippy one more time in the next level, but I will also be explaining something else in that level that is monumental to, well, not monumental. It's pretty scarring for some runners and pretty good. It's recently became really good for runners, thankfully.
We're not going to be doing it in this run, though.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But currently, right now, we are learning the flip ability so that we can get into 3D and get around some obstacles that would usually be in the way. It's pretty much the whole gimmick of the game, which is why you also want to have Mario out, like, as much as you can. Not only because he is the fastest character along with Luigi, but just also how many times flipping is supposed to be used in levels. So anytime you see another character come out, it is for a specific reason. And also, you can also notice that we picked up 3 different items in the house. They will be used in the pit. The Shroom Shake, obviously, is just for healing, just in case you get low. The Shell Shock is used in a very specific room to get a lot of points and makes the room very fast. And the Fire Burst is used for pre-chapter 2 to continue the story.
So I did safety save because we do have a grind coming up that it's very important that you get enough points
Ah, yes, this squiglet
for
grind.
later on. Yeah.
So basically what the squiglet grind is in the next room here, there will be a group of 21 squiglets in 3D. And the main goal is to consecutively bounce across all of them, which is much easier said than done with a Wii Remote D-pad. And the basic goal, without any other extra items from that item block, you can get up to 36,000 points, which is the general gist of it. Anything around 30k is okay, but as long as you make it, you should be good.
Yep.
Nice. And you got a Peachy Peach, which is also another free heal. So we're set. That was a really
That was a
good
bad
grind.
door. That was really awesome, yeah. This room, nothing too big happening. You just turn 3D,
Yep.
walk all the way through.
I feel bad about what happened to all the squiglets, but it's for the sake of going fast, so.
Oh, trust me,
Absolutely.
if PETA was in the speedrunning community, the SPM speedrunning community, we would be shut down years ago.
True.
Those poor piggies, man.
Well, especially when we get in the pit, we're just.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure every flavor of Squiglet, Squig, Squog, Squonk, they're all there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this game is not, well, let's just say that it promotes defeating your enemies no matter what.
It does seem like a very Mario trait, so I understand.
Yeah, well, Mario Odyssey was capturing them.
That's true.
So level 2 in Chapter 1 is just your basic introduction to using the flip ability as well. This path right here that she's taking is a secret path that saves approximately, I want to say a minute, maybe 40 seconds. I don't know. No one's taken that path in literally a decade, so I completely forget what it looks like. Just to the left there, you can see where you originally would come out, but that path overall saves time, which is why we always take it. And right here, there is a secret ladder block that we are going to get coins with, so that we can buy items in the shop. The shop is optional for pit percent, but since this is a marathon run, we want to be as safe as possible. Just get some heals. It's only 30 seconds lost. It's not a big deal.
Oh, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
just for safety.
I've heard this is a run that doesn't have any serious RNG at all. You know, just like the last one. Couldn't possibly lose any fights.
Yeah.
Who told you that?
Oh, sorry, did I read that wrong? Never mind.
Yeah.
It's not like the world record is like 10 minutes slower than the majority of runners' sum of best.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Pit percent is just the category that just gives and takes. I guess I should, what'd you say?
I was just gonna explain what this guy's doing, but he's just gonna basically pull up a bridge for us.
Yeah. Well, speaking of bridges, I guess I should peel off the band-aid and explain the lore behind this level in speedrunning terms. So, years ago, I don't remember who it was, someone can say in the chat. Years ago, someone found a seam next to where the green bridge would spawn that you can climb up and jump across the gap for free. It is multi-pixel perfect. Like, it is like unbelievable how precise it is. And it was a minute faster than the old method of life shroom jump, which is basically a double jump. It's from bringing your HP all the way down to 1, jumping across the gap halfway, the life shroom would revive you, and you would have a frame to either jump or flip to get the rest of the way there. Basically, we called this GBS, Green Bridge Skip. This method was found and developed over the course of the last 4 years, maybe 3, I'm not too sure. But it has caused so much pain for runners because you have to, 1, clip out of bounds with a sign in the shop, 2, navigate an invisible seam that you cannot see for about, I want to say about 50 meters, and then 3, there were 2 frame-perfect inputs that you could not miss, and there were some times where it would just not work because this game has indeterministic values that would just put your X coordinate or Z coordinate into a place where you just couldn't climb up the seam. Oh. And it's caused thousands upon thousands of resets, 15 minutes wasted out of every attempt of it, until just recently this year, we found a method where it became 100% consistent. So, unfortunately, we're still not going to do it in this run. 1, because it's still very hard, and 2, it is a Japanese exclusive glitch to consoles, like VC console. So we're just gonna stick with English and just go through it the level normally. The GBS saves around 2 minutes, but it's not that big of a deal if you're first just starting out. It is literally only if you are trying to go for a world record. You do not need to do GBS in pit percent unless you really want to. It's awesome if people learn it, but it is one of those tricks where you do not need to put yourself through the pain to get a good time, especially in an RNG heavy category.
Absolutely. I don't think we explained it earlier, but the reason we're playing on English is because the Japanese version is very unstable.
Yeah.
And it can crash very easily.
There is a, like, I want to say 1 in 100 chance of just every time you enter a loading zone, a door, an elevator, you just crash for literally no reason. And to this day, we still don't know why it happens. And it's exclusively only happened to Japanese games. There have been a few instances where people have crashed on English, but the circumstances have been different. But overall, JP has just been it's almost to the point where you don't want to use it unless you want to do GBS. Because although you save time in text boxes with Japanese, it is not worth the time save if you're just gonna crash.
Yeah, I was curious hearing you talk about it. Is it a situation where, counter to how many games are run, Japanese runners actually run the English version for increased stability?
No. Everyone in any percent, the top 10 run on JP. We just take the risk and just go, oh well.
Very good.
If it's during a marathon run, the Japanese runners actually use disc and just to stay safe. They still save time in text boxes, but you know the loads are way slower because it's like comparing an SSD to like
a CD-ROM
from the 90s. Yeah, exactly. But it's a theory is that the game was not ported correctly from loading from a disc, from loading directly from the Wii U's NAND. That's the most common working theory right now. But other than that, it's just safe to just play on English and just have fun with the marathon. And right here, Cat's collected a Fast Flower, a Coin Flower, and a Pal Pills. All of those collectively, with the Fast Flower triple points, give you around 15k points, which is a lot of points. So we always do that mini grind to just get our points up. Genuinely, you want to be at 50,000 at this point, but there is a boss coming up in the next room where you can also increase those points even further. So points aren't really scarce throughout the run. It's just a matter of getting the 1-1 grind and being confident with what you know. And fortunately, we got a good 1-1 grind, a really good one, so we won't have to worry about points at all for the rest of the run. Unless you get like 1,500 first keys and you're like under-leveled.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
it's the trade-off.
Alright, so right here, we're meeting Oh Chunks. He is going to fight us, and he can throw you, and that wastes time, so we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, probably what you would think is the easiest boss battle in the game is actually the hardest one in the entire run.
Yeah, he sucks.
Oh. Yeah. The basic strategy is you pick him up, you throw him in the corner, and then you jump against the invisible wall to the right, and you just shake your Wii remote. And it's not necessarily the strategy that causes players to fail, it's the Wii remote. For some reason, the Wii remote just does not like to pick up your inputs, especially with shaking. It's really just unpredictable at times. Sometimes players have smacked their Wii remote on their desk to make the gyroscope work better. It's just really funny, the history of ways people have failed on this fight just because of the Wii remote. You can also just straight up soft lock if you attack them at the right timing, but thankfully that didn't happen. And ooh, yeah, I was about to say, what Cats just did right there was called Ice Dribble Skip. Basically, it just skips about like 10 seconds. 10 seconds of going to the right, bouncing on a trampoline. you basically pick up the enemy, you get hit by its ice, and the enemy pops up, and you're able to jump off the enemy and up to the door pretty well. It's a cute little time save.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, no blue pedestal skip. It's another one of those pixel perfect tricks. You basically flip into 3D and you run against the edge of that mural that got removed from the star block, and you're just able to hit the star block through the mural, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, I haven't perfected that, so I would love to show that off though.
Yeah, it is pixel perfect. Like, you have to write the right X coordinate and the right Z coordinate. It's strange how this game's physics work. It's the tricks that you would think would never work, and then there's things that you think would work and just barely don't work. This game was programmed by 6 people, and it is the most like interesting game to like develop glitches for, especially in the last 3 years where we've found so much.
Wow, genuinely kind of surprising that a game in a beloved franchise for a new-ish console at the time was made with such a small team.
I just think that they ripped the 1000-Year Door engine and just went, yeah, that's good enough.
Added a couple extra features to it. Yeah, no,
That's
that makes
pretty
a certain
much
amount
what
of
they
sense.
did.
Yeah, so all we're really doing in this level is getting a bunch of keys, going through doors.
Typical Zelda
There's a
dungeons.
trick. Yeah, there's a trick you can do here. Again, I'm not good at it, so I'm not going to be doing it. But essentially, we wouldn't be having to get this next key that I'm about to get. So I wouldn't have to come into this room here. Oops.
Yeah, it's your traditional. If you've played New Super Mario Bros. Or any of the games in those franchises, you're probably aware of corner clips. The exact same idea. You basically just corner clip onto one of the quicksand areas, and you're able to flip into 3D, get out of bounds, and be able to get behind this compartment that the key is in, and just collect the key for free. And you save 20 seconds. Oh, I lied. Here's another place where you use Tippy. In any percent, that is the last time you use Tippy until late chapter 4.
Any Tippy appreciators in the chat? While Tippy gets their moment to shine.
We love Tippy.
Except for when we don't.
True.
I
Funny
mean,
enough, not unlike every Zelda character who helps Link.
True.
I mean, in chapter 3, you don't have her at all. It's a relief of fresh air.
All right, I see. We got a 1 in the chat for Tippy.
Oh yeah, I guess 4-1 too, but still not long enough. It's just funny. The game treats some mechanics like there are some pixels where you use them a lot of times, and then there's just some pixels where you use them once and never again. They did not balance out the pixel usage that well. But hey, it's good for speedrunning because you don't have to switch every 5 seconds.
Absolutely. We're actually just coming up onto the chapter boss.
Yes, we are coming up on Fractale, the 3-minute cutscene, as I like to call it, because you literally stand and wait for him to do his minute-long animation, and then you stand on his back.
Yeah, this is typically if I'm doing a run and I need to use the bathroom or something, like I'll just go run and do it during this cutscene.
This is the part where once the cutscene starts, this is where you take out your phone and take a selfie with the crowd.
All right, everybody, make sure your hair is looking good. I've got mine. Got my phone out. Everybody else, whenever you're ready. Say Mario time.
Mario time.
Mario time.
Let's go. We also have a donation from, what is it, Ate a Tree? I don't know, never heard of them. They say, just had to donate for that incredible showcase of new tech in the Outbound Ghost Run. That was the last speed run I was watching from the audience. Would definitely recommend going and checking it out in the VODs later when you get the chance. And
Yeah,
they also say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
That run was awesome. I watched that.
Right? Love to learn about new, at least new to me, Paper Mario inspired games. Very cool.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was
They also
really
say-
cool too, because it was like what, 7 seconds off world record. That was like a really
Very
good run.
Close enough that, as I understand, Soil is now going to do a run like right about now, grinding out for the world record. So looking forward to hearing about that soon. But yes, the tea tree also wants to remind you that the donation goes to the Stardew Valley Pet Adoption Incentive we have coming up in a couple of runs. And yeah, I agree. I agree with myself. We should definitely get there.
Basically, on the gameplay right now, we're still waiting for Fractail to finish his minute-long cutscene. You basically just sit in 3D, wait for him to come, and then you jump on his back, and then you're finally able to do something.
Doing things is cool. I'm a big fan of doing things. It's definitely how the speedrun progresses.
Yep. Traditionally, I would hope for something other than standing watching the boss do things, but it's still a boss. It's still pretty difficult for the average casual player, because right here he does this looping animation where you will fall off if you're not careful enough. But if you just put yourself in a position where you're able to jump, you can land back on him like that, and perfectly just continue the boss as normal. Hit him 3 times, he'll loop around again. Hit him 3 times, boss is over. It's basically your typical 2D boss. I wouldn't even call it a 3D boss, because you only do it to get on him to attack him. Just pick up, throw, easy enough. And that will be the end of Chapter 1.
Easy.
Easy. Well, I guess after another minute of mashing,
Yeah.
what's this game without its like 5-minute long cutscenes between chapters?
Yeah. It's unfortunate because those of you who have played Paper Mario 64 might be familiar with the ability to scroll text by just holding B. For some reason, they got rid of that concept from there on, starting TTYD in this game, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the games are the same way. You have to mash buttons to actually scroll through text.
Yeah, it went from being having a drink in your hand, controller in the other, to you need to precisely mash in a certain pattern to be fast at it. And trust me, it is not the most comfortable thing on your arms.
Yeah, especially when you're holding a Wii remote. It's not the most comfortable controller.
Yeah, especially if you have big hands, because you can fit the entire controller in your hand, and yet your puny thumb sometimes just rolls over the wrong input, and then you just lose time because your hands are too big.
Alright, we got the pure heart.
Everyone's cheering you on in the chat.
Nice. Love you all. I accidentally saved. That's not necessary, but...
Yeah, your typical Nintendo game. Saving is slower. But sometimes it's okay to save. Especially in things when it comes to just before grinds. especially in any percent. Like, it doesn't hurt you to save. You lose 1 second. Oh no.
Yep. It's okay to take a break sometimes. Reminds me of Earthbound, the messages you get when you call your dad to save. But granted, since we're speedrunning, we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah. So, for the next 8 minutes, we are in this mini story of Peach doesn't know where she is, Bowser and Luigi are still missing, we don't know where they are, and she's going to follow these Koopas and try to find her way out of the castle. Meanwhile, Mario will get back to Flipside, and then Peach and Mario will meet up again, and they will figure out what to do next from there to find their friends. Well, I don't know about Bowser, but I'm sure they'll be nice to him, right? I mean, the
They're
plot
looking
of
for
this
their
game
friends,
is Bowser and
Bowser's looking
Peach
for his
get married.
underlings. Yeah, that's right. I'm sure nothing will happen to come between that.
No, not at all. It's not like they spawned a black hole that will destroy every universe. That'd be silly.
As I said in chat
That would be
earlier,
silly.
foreshadowing is a literary device which serves as a warning or indication of future events. Foreshadowing can sometimes be relatively obvious.
I think that's one of the funniest things about this run is like that's gonna be happening in the main story, but we don't care about that. We're just gonna go beat the pit a bunch of times.
I don't want to save the world. I want to defeat every enemy that exists. It's like a Pokemon trainer. You're not there to defeat the Elite Four. You're here to catch all the cute monsters.
And if the Elite Four happens to get in your way, well, who can say what'll happen?
Well, by that time, you'll have a level 100 Pikachu, and you'll just destroy them.
Mm-hmm.
I totally wasn't a Gen 1 Pokemon player where I would just glitch Master Balls in and have a level 100 Nidoking.
Nope, definitely didn't surf up and down the shore of Cinnabar with the manipulated tables looking for the mons I wanted. I don't at all understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, so right here, coming up, we're actually just gonna take the elevator because we don't need to be going to that floor that we land on, that we jumped off of the tower the first time.
Pre-Chapter 2 is the only time we're taking this elevator is faster. Most of the times when you take the elevator, it's faster.
I get it.
Or slower. Holy cow. Taking the elevators are slow.
It's fine. Everybody takes the L now and again.
Basically here, Merlin's like, yo, good job. You got the next pure heart. And then this guy comes in and is like, a girl came out of the sky. And we're all confused and we have to know what's happening. But thankfully, due to already knowing the game, we can just go and get the required item, which is cooking a fire burst into a soup. Not sure how that works, but the soup is required to wake up Princess Peach and for her to join our party.
I could go for some soup. I heard one of the organizers just went out for some soup a little bit ago, I think. Seems like a very soup kind of day.
I'm not a soup person, but potato soup rocks. Especially the way my mom makes it.
I like that. Chat. Suggestions for soup. Favorite kinds of soup. Things that shouldn't go in soup. What do you think?
I think carrots belong in soup. For no particular reason.
I'm more a carrot, like in a stew kind of person. You get a carrot going at a good simmer till it's nice and like soft or very close to it. That's what it is for me. Sorry, you were saying something, Cats.
I don't remember everything. But anyways, hold on. I just took the return pipe.
Oh, no.
And now we're just going to go give Peach the soup. Oh god. I almost accidentally ate the soup.
No, don't pull a Zyle. Don't pull a Zyle.
I was just thinking that.
We are all thinking about soup right now, but
Luckily, I do have another fire burst. I could have just went and cooked it.
okay, here's what we've got so far. Scala Kitty saying soup is a treat, but remember broccoli cheddar soup is also a milkshake. So it's going to be one of those kinds of days, apparently.
I mean,
that's my favorite kind of soup.
Soup is really just a thick milkshake that you drink out of a bowl.
Yeah, no, this is very much like a constructionist argument where people will argue that food can be broken down into basically like 4 or 5 different shapes. It's either a sandwich, a milkshake, a cake. You know, I've heard it before.
Food crimes.
Yeah, no, it's apparently going to be a food crimes kind of day.
It's really hard for me to consider you someone who's committing food crimes because I eat literally anything, but there are limits. Like putting hot dogs and like, what is the word? I don't know the word. Putting hot dogs in a pie, I guess.
Okay, all right. For whatever reason, and I think this is also partially based on because as I'm looking back at the Discord, the soup run didn't work out. They ended up getting ramen instead. So I ended up thinking about putting hot dogs in ramen, and that sounds like a food time. I mean, like salty with salty, I can kind of see it from a flavor profile perspective, but everything else about it, no thank you.
I am a very big hot dog advocate, so I like my hot dogs.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
That's why it makes me cringe when I hear hot dogs and ramen.
All right, toppings. What you got? Do you like to load them up, or?
I'm like basic. I just do ketchup and mustard, one of the two, or both at the same time.
Sure.
Okay, French fries into ice cream is not that bad though. It doesn't sound bad when you think about it.
Especially with Wendy's, they completely people with the fries and the frosty.
Yeah,
that completely normalized that idea. So I'm here for that. I am not, however, here for the hot dog split with Neapolitan ice cream.
You can also be me and be a little bit of a silly 13-year-old. Go on a golfing trip with your dad and accidentally put hot sauce on your hot dog so that your mouth burns while you do the back nine.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, if you aren't using a cart, that'll definitely help you keep pace.
I have a high spice tolerance, but even then, it's like that tasted so gross.
Alright, so coming up here, we just put the heart pillar in the pillar, or the heart in the heart pillar, and now we're gonna go to chapter 2 to get Boomer.
Oh right, we're playing a video game.
Do what now?
Yeah, we only go into, for pit percent, we only go into chapter 2 to get 1 pixel, which is Boomer, who is basically just Bobbery or Bombette from the previous games. You blow them up, double damage of what your attack stat is, basic stuff. You can theoretically, well, not theoretically, you can do the pit without Boomer and save 5 minutes. Or no, it's like, I think Zach entered the pit once at like 33 minutes, so it's like an 8-minute time saver on average. But the strats that you have to do to like actually make it through the pit, like first of all, there's just straight up chances where you just soft lock and you reset and be sad. There's also just really strange strats, like putting enemies with throw into the ceiling so that the key spawns on the door. There's arbitrary things like throwing certain enemies into other things that will kill them both. It's a lot of strategy and thinking to the point where some of that time that you would save with Boomer gets lost in Boomerless Pit. So fortunately we have someone in chat, Save the Sea Sponges, who has actually done pitless or Boomerless Pit runs, and they have completed runs, which is really awesome. They are one of 2 people to actually complete a Boomerless Pit run.
Okay, Boomerless.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
Very impressive.
for every other runner that's ran, we always get Boomer. It's just go through chapter 2, get Boomer, and return. And then you were able to enter the pit with a modest amount of points. And unfortunately there, wasn't able to get the Goomba bounce. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just bounce off the Goomba onto the pipe. But thankfully there's this nice backup here where you can just flip into 3D, get your Z position correct, and then you can just jump off the block when you reflip.
Yeah, the Pixel Pals kind of messed me up on that. And I wasn't actually expecting to level up right there either.
Oh yeah, the level up always screws it up because you lose all momentum.
Yep.
Thankfully, it's not the biggest time save or the biggest time loss. It's just one of those things where you fail it and you're just like, oh, okay. It's never a big deal when you lose time in this game. Like, there's a lot of things that you can save time with. It's not just like a one and done thing. There's no specific trick that you have to get to complete a speedrun, maybe with the exception of Peach Skip, but that is another one of those tricks where it's situational. I think GBS and Peach Skip from the any percent runs are the big ones that people reset to the most if it's not like a game over. Sometimes scanner skip. There's a lot of skips in this game. I can't think of them all.
I was gonna say, I like how you're talking about, you know, we opened by talking about how accessible the run is, and you're talking about how like friendly the skips are and how much each individual one doesn't necessarily matter. And then I look over at the chat and Slopped Up says, still waiting for the day when someone beats NM Flash's 1 HP only pit run. And that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, we've had a few runners try it, and it's been nothing but anguish.
I believe it.
Because there's just some times where you get hit for no reason. You can double input for literally anything in the game. There's just so many things where it just... As much as this game has consistent movement in 2D, there's so many different just random things that can happen with the physics engine. Oh. Okay. So here, we're talking to Boomer. He's asking us these funny, like, cliche questions from 2007 about going online was the best experience of my life, and he's asking you all these weird questions about having your clothes inside out or something. I don't know. But either way, we have Boomer now. We can now enter the pit. The game puts a lot of personalities into these characters, which is really nice. Especially into Bowser. Unfortunately, we won't see him. But we know Bowser's watching from afar.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of all the Mario RPGs. Everything from Super Mario RPG to Mario and Luigi to Paper Mario games.
Yeah.
Getting extra dimension into the characters of, you know, your Luigis, your Peaches, your Bowsers.
Unfortunately, they just have not kept up that tradition. I would say the last good Paper Mario game was... Well, Origami King was good, but it hasn't had the same taste since Super Paper Mario. Sticker Star was widely agreed to be an abomination of what it used to be. And then Color Splash was, we don't talk about it. And then the Mario and Luigi games kind of kept up their charm. Like Dream Team was good, but Paper Jam was not that good.
And then Alpha Dream was no more. Oh,
yeah, Alpha Dream was gone after Dream Team, unfortunately.
Yeah, and now I'm sad.
I am
so let's
sad
watch some more
too.
speedrun and get happy again.
Yeah, we are finally in the pit. So
hey,
the flip side pit of 100 trials is you have 5 minutes to complete one room. Way too much time, to be honest. And majority of these rooms you complete in like 20 seconds, but it can also just range to a minute if you're unlucky. Every single room has the chance to make you save a lot of time, lose a lot of time, and there is nothing you can do about it. You just got to be efficient with your killing, and there are set different enemies for each room. The door layouts are always random, so you can predict the seeds of the door if you played this game enough, but typically you just go through and see what you see, just reactionary things that you do just to stay alive and go fast.
Not gonna lie, gotta be efficient with our killing is not the phrase I expected to hear during a Paper Mario speedrun, but here we are. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah. I mean, there are points where you can control it. Like, for example, the shell shock we picked up will just instantly wipe out an entire room, and 90% of the time will give you the key for free. And there are some rooms where you can just breeze through it because there's either just one enemy in the room or they're all in the same place. Again, all RNG, but the main gist of it is just to try not to get hit and just defeat all the enemies as fast as possible until you get the key. And right now, we've had some decent RNG. We're actually doing pretty well. We're up into room 5 now. And room 5, the first 10 rooms are just your basic chapter 1 enemies. You got the Goombas and the spring guys that we saw in level 1. As the game goes on, or as the pit goes on, we will start to see some other enemies that we have never seen before, mostly because we are skipping 7 out of the 8 chapters.
Yeah, wait, here, I got your list for you. Those are the Sproing Oings.
Yep.
And we got some Gloombas in this room, and Cherubles in the next room.
Yep.
I also really like the Game & Watch inspired backgrounds, the kind of
yeah, it's a nice touch.
LCD screens. Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, this area is not really friendly in 3D. If you flip, you will fall to the bottom, which the majority of times is good, but sometimes there's just this the game likes to do this thing where in the top left it's an enclosed space, so that the only way you can get in there is by using the pipe on the other side of the room, and you just lose so much time. And it's really they did it on purpose, but for speedrunning it is not okay.
Right.
Good room, good room. And there's the poison turbos, which you actually normally the poison turbos are actually really good to kill because they 99% of the time always drop an item, and those items happen to be, most of the times it's a dried shroom for 1 HP, but sometimes it will give you really good heals, like 10 HP heals, like a Peachy Peach or a Shroom Shake. So I always go out of my way to kill the poison turbos if they're in my way, because you have that chance of getting healing items. There's some other enemies that have the same 100 drop rate for a heal, but most of the times, it really just depends how things go in the pit. Like, it's like I said before, it's reactionary. You do things based on what your health is, based on where the enemies are. There are just some things like right there where you just, okay, the enemy is under me, just put Boomer on the floor and it will explode them from below, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and get good timing on it all too. I was just about to start asking what our like healing options were like, knowing we were missing a couple health 10 floors in. So
hot sauce.
Ooh.
Hot sauce doubles your attack. Usually attack doubling items you want to save until well, it's up to the runner really, but the majority of what runners do is they save that hot sauce for room 86 because those enemies tank a lot of hits from Boomer. So having that double attack is really nice. Also, having that attack boost also pierces through defense, which is also really good.
Nice. I thought you were gonna say they save it for their hot dogs. But that's
no, only if you're me. The funny part is I'm pretty sure you can use a hot sauce to make a hot dog in this game.
I think you can.
Excellent. See, art imitating life. It happens all the time.
I'm never gonna let that down.
It just depends on how things go in the pit. Things you can only say during this speedrun or at a punk show. Very good skill,
Yeah.
Kitty.
That is true. I mean, this is your basic punk show. Just a giant rave with enemies.
Throwing a few less elbows, but otherwise pretty similar.
Oh, Mario's the one throwing the elbows. Well, he's placing bombs, which I'm pretty sure are worse than elbows, but...
Yeah, that and stomping on people, yeah, that'll happen in both places. Bombs, less so.
It's okay, it's Mario, though. He means it in a funny, goofy way. He just wants a key. Yeah. So those things that, those Schlorps, they swallow up Boomer, and they are probably the worst enemies to encounter in the pit. There is a version of those that take 2 Boomer hits, and it takes like at least 10 seconds to defeat one enemy. And those are, thankfully, in the flip side pit, you only come across one room where there are those Schlorps. But in Flopside, there are the dark versions of those enemies that take 3 Boomer hits, and there's just a room filled with those Schlorps. So you could either spend 15 seconds in that room or 2 full minutes. So when you do speedrun categories where you go into the Flopside pit, it is just you pray is the basic way of saying it. That was a very nice, efficient room. That was another one of those room-specific strategies where you can pick up a turtle leaf 3 times, where you could kick the shell down and it knocks out all the enemies that are on the ground. There's also a technique with Boomer that is, I don't want to say it's frame perfect. You have multiple frames where you can do this trick, but if you flip into 3D, place Boomer, and flip back into 2D at the right time, you can wipe all the enemies. As long as they're on the same height level as you, it will wipe them all out on that plane that you are on. And it's a really fast way of killing enemies.
You can basically just stretch out the explosion.
Yeah, the explosion stretches out to the entire room depending on what frame you activate it on. Genuinely, all the frames are friendly, but like it is an insane trick that was also not too recently discovered. Recently discovered. It was like, I don't want to say a year ago, but it was around there.
Definitely tracks with the comment I saw earlier of somebody saying they've gone through the game's code and it's very special.
Yeah.
It's really something.
It's not pretty. I've seen it firsthand.
I'm friends with somebody who works on the Super Mario RPG randomizer. And for a while, they've been tweeting updates as they go through the code and try to figure out how events link to each other. And in some cases, it seems like things are 8 times as convoluted as they need to be, ostensibly in the interest of like not letting people skip past important events. And in some places, it's just like, wait, this event happens under these circumstances, but I can't figure out where it's actually referenced literally anywhere in the code. So I wouldn't be surprised if this game is something like that.
Well, thankfully, we have a very talented coding community in the SPM. Well, a lot of them come from TTYD because this game literally uses the exact same engine as TTYD, so a lot of things are able to be cross-referenced. So we also just have very talented coders in the SPM community specifically that have developed things like practice codes and like other general things. Someone made a desert bus thing where you just go through one room 100 million times.
And does Mario veer slightly to the left if you don't correct him?
What was that?
It said, does Mario veer slightly to the left if you don't correct his position? That's what happens in Desert Bus. That's the...
Oh yeah, well the equivalent of that is that you can't just hold one input for it either. You have to enter a door every time. If you just hold upright, then you'll just continuously go through the same door. So thankfully, it's not one of those games where you just tape your Wii remote and go have a lunch.
Right. No. That wouldn't be in the spirit of Desert Bus, to be sure.
Oh yeah. So room 26 here, probably with one of the most annoying enemies ever. Thankfully, we got a good key, so we don't have to worry about that. Wow, I'm jealous. You got a really fast room for 26. I never get those.
I was gonna say, yeah, that was really good.
Yes.
Probably
the
best I've actually had.
The way that room layout is really stupidly made. It involves a lot of using pipes and also jumping off the pipes in 3D. It genuinely, once again, one of those rooms you save a lot of time or you lose your soul. And a good fire burst drop there. We can use that on the final boss of the pit, which I'm not going to spoil, even though it's not really a spoiler. It's pretty sad what it is, but the fire burst will be useful and will make it really fast.
It's fine. None of us were using our souls for anything important anyways.
Do I have one? I don't know. I don't know anymore.
All right, now we're just blaspheming on Easter. Excellent. Perfect timing.
Yeah. Happy Easter. We don't have souls.
It just seems to, I mean, you know, it's Mario. Whether Mario has any sort of soul or goodness inherent within him, or if that's entirely up to the player, is another metaphysical topic for another day, I imagine. But
so, another strategy talk about it is, so HP is kind of low, but we're not too worried because our points are getting pretty close to a level up. We all typically know where the level ups are, which in points is usually during the 1-1 grind. We always get the 10k and 20k level up, and then throughout chapter 1 and 2 we get to 40k and then 60k, and the level ups alternate from upgrading your attack by 1 and upgrading your HP by 5. So they're both good to have, so there's no downside to any of them. But as you go through the pit, you level up in specific spots. So if you're able to strategize around that, you do not need any heals ever. But thankfully, having that Shroom Shake from 1-1 for free from the house is just a good safety net. We always have that Shroom Shake in any percent as well, just in case something goes wrong. Like, especially with some of the later boss fights, because sometimes the game just says, hey, hitboxes are no longer a thing. So our next level up will be at 90k, and it should be an HP level up, so we will have 25 health to go through the next, like, 50 floors of the pit. Or not 50, like, probably like 40 rooms until the next level up. So, thankfully, we might not have to use any heals yet.
Well, if it's only 40, then
yeah,
obviously there's nothing to worry about.
Basically, the general rule of thumb is if you ever get into peril, just use a heal. Like, don't play the hero. Because there is a glitch in this game where if you get hit and jump on an enemy on the same frame, you will take double the damage. So there are times where you will just die for no reason other than the game deciding to erase your frame invincibility. But thankfully we should be leveling up here soon.
Uh-oh, your HP is low. It's critical.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this room I actually don't trust myself in because these enemies are the worst.
Oh yeah, so these guys, they are just as fast as Mario. Well, no, not these ones, but later in the pit, there are different versions of these guys called ninjas, and they are just as fast as Mario. They are unpredictable as hell, and they're also just sometimes where if you hit them, they will turn into a bomb and explode you. They have their own boomer attack. And there are times where people have consecutively hit the ninja and it kept turning into bomb after bomb after bomb. And if you get, there's no invincibility frames for those bombs, so you can also get double hit by them.
Of course.
So they are the most annoying enemies in the pit next to daisies.
I'm told that these are the ninjas. Let's see what the later version is.
Pretty funny. They're called Ninjo, Ninjon, and Ninjeri. Pretty funny
That's what I get
name.
for asking. Yep, Ninjo and Ninjon, room 88. Ninjeri, 92 and 93. Sure enough.
Yeah, thankfully, they're not too prevalent in the pit. But we have some other enemies coming up first that will be an annoyance. Thankfully, the Hammer and Fire Bros, they aren't too annoying. You just gotta watch their hammer patterns. Sometimes you'll get hit, but they don't. The Hammer Bros do not do much damage. However, the Boomerang Bros and sometimes the Fire Bros will do like 5 damage to you, 4 damage, and it is really unfortunate. It's just, it's a lot of like precise movement around them if you want to be fast or just waiting for the Boomerang guys to stop throwing their things. But we just reached the 40s, and here we have these cute green guys that take a lot of hits and do 3 damage per hit, and they are, for new runners, their first run killer, because you cannot underestimate how big those things are. Thankfully, we got a really fast key, so we're able to just move through this room. But there will be more, what we like to call them slop dops. Because that's what they are.
A clear show of affection to the person in the chat right now. Definitely.
Yep. It's the army of the slop dops.
Oh, these guys are funny. You can just stand still.
Yeah.
And they basically just kill us.
Yeah, so we have the Messy Koopas. They just kick shells at you, and they do a lot of damage. Not too much damage for these versions of the enemies, but the yellow, or not the yellow, there's ones with white jerseys that do 5 damage, and we will be seeing those later in the 60s. But thankfully you can do strategies like these, where you just let the guy kick the shell into the wall next to him, and then it goes back into him, and then he just continuously does it, and it's like, oh, what happened? They're very silly enemies. Obviously, they weren't designed for pit environments like this. They're usually in flat areas, but it's still pretty funny to see them in the pit. Lots of squigs where you can... Squigs and squogs, as they're called. There's actually an infinite point glitch you can do with those guys. That was actually recently discovered. There is a room in the flip side pit and a room in the flop side pit where you can grind millions of points, up to 2 million if you do it correctly. And those actually save a lot of time in 100%. And in the other category that goes through both flip side and flop side pits. Well, not flip side pit, but it goes to the flop side pit, and that category also uses the technique. So you can... Our old method of doing the 2 million point grind was to go it into either chapter 1-1 or 5-2, and you would bounce off of those squig rocks repeatedly for about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what your level is. And you just rack up a bunch of HP and attack, and you can just breeze by through the pit and the rest of the game if you're doing hundo. So very nice that the squigs exist in this game. Otherwise, this game would be a million times harder if those point grinds didn't exist. But unfortunately for pit, they are not faster, so we just kill them. We just have our funny 1-1 grind, and then we just go out through the game normally. These Magikoopas are also really annoying because their projectiles are like, they don't go away if you hit them a frame later. Like, they come out frame 1 and those projectiles just stay.
Yeah, they suck. Just a bunch of
here's
squads.
yeah, this is the room I was talking about where you do the 2 million point grind. You basically grab all of the squigs in this room, you throw them onto the bottom floor, and then you start bouncing off their coconuts. And unfortunately, you just can't do it with Mario himself. You have to have another pixel named Carrie, where for some reason, without Carrie, the game puts a cap on how many coconuts you can bounce on in a row before they just straight up make the squigs not shoot the coconuts. But when you're on carry, this cap isn't enforced, so they shoot them infinitely after you bounce on each one. So you're able to just combo the coconuts off of the same squig forever, until you reach a wall, of course. And we're halfway there.
Whoa,
Yeah, I saw that coming.
I mean, somebody had to. Half of chat did it in their heads, so I'm just playing the part of chat.
Yeah. I understand. So, that room, good point grind. We got like 10k from it almost. Very good room to get points in as you kick the shell into all the spiny guys. Very good strat. And right there, we got to 120k. We have more attack power now. And full heals, so we're doing good. We still have a bunch of heals. I'm pretty sure we have like 4 or 5 heals in the bag.
Something like that.
Yeah, we're good. Stupid room. You have to go in the pipe to reach the door. It's another one of those rooms I was talking about.
All right. We got another contention here in chat. Team Coconut, Team Rock, and possibly also Team Bowling Ball. I'm not sure. Where do each of you fall? Are you both Coconut?
Rock, probably.
No, Rock? Okay.
I don't know what we're using them for.
think
I don't
it's
want to
what
use the
the,
rock to go bowling.
what the squiglets were firing.
Yeah.
Okay, so which one would hurt your feet less if you jumped on it?
No.
Yeah, that is my answer too. No.
Yeah, as our runner is doing a fantastic job scoring up those points, racking up the points, and making her way through the Pit of 100 trials. Just wanted to take a minute to remind everyone that we are also helping score some very important points for a very important friend, Cora. Corathon is, of course, a mutual fundraiser helping raise money for Cora so she can get to a place which accepts her for who she is. Now, anti-trans legislation in the state of Texas is such that while Cora does already have work lined up in the place that she's looking to move to, she does need help with moving expenses so that she can safely move to a state with LGBTQIA plus friendly laws and communities. So we are here. I'm honored to be a part of both this run and this marathon to support and provide for a friend in need. And we are so very grateful for any donations that you can provide to help. Assuming it didn't already show up in chat recently, which I think it did, but if you wanted to type !donate in chat, you can get more information about that.
Happy to be here to help.
Me too.
Alright, which room are we on now? 56?
Yes.
Ah, the dark boos. Funny part with this room is that there are a bunch of boos that flip into 3D and back into 2D to scare you. And then there is one Cursia, which I'm not saying this is a superstition, but I swear it has the key every single time.
I also think that.
Yeah, right there. There's the key. Like, I always
Dark
go for the.
Cursia.
I always go for the Dark Cursia first. Here we have our friendly little ice tribbles. They're they're the way they program these rooms, they just set enemy location per grid square. Like, you can kind of tell where the grid is with the background, but like they don't put them in correct places where it would make sense. So sometimes you just have enemies that are up against the roof where you can't hit them. There's just some times where you just get comboed for no reason because they fall on your head when the camera doesn't move up in time. They're in really strange positions. So it's another one of those strategies to just be like, okay, is there anything above me? Is there anything I have to look out for? And thankfully, we do not have to do that here. And thankfully, we did not get a Maisie Daisy trolled.
Hey, daisies. It's like we're playing Yoshi's Island or something.
Yeah, thankfully, we did not get a Mazy Daisy. The gold daisies in this game are pretty much the equivalent of Abra from Pokemon. They will run away and avoid you at all costs, and they have a butt ton of health, and they hit like a truck. So if you don't get in position to kill it against the wall, you are losing at least a minute. It is unfortunate just how... It happens to a lot of people. It happens to everyone at some point, but it is just unfortunate what happens when you get a Mazy Daisy trolled.
They're cute as can be, and they move as fast as the trucks they hit like. Got it.
Yeah, they do 10 damage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. So if you have less than 10, that's just instant death.
Goodness.
Yeah. Well, at least they're not the Dark Daisies, where they do 20.
That's, I don't love that.
Thankfully, the dark enemies, where they're just all black, thankfully they are only in Flopside Pit. However, to counter that point, if you want to complete the Flopside Pit, you have to do it twice. It's just... Talk about repetition with this game. This game actually has 400 rooms of pit-like things. You have Chapter 6, you have the Flipside Pit, which we're doing right now, and the Flopside Pit twice. Very interesting game design that they wanted to do this, but, I mean, what else can you do for a 2D game?
They were already reusing an engine, so why not? We'll just keep reusing every part of the Mario.
Yeah, I mean, this game is literally just a carbon copy of TTYD. Just... You can jump higher, and it's... Yeah, it went from 3D to 2.5D, and also pretty much removed like 90% of the RPG elements. This game would be interesting if it had the TTYD battle system.
Absolutely.
I do like the idea of if you switch to 2.5D, you could have like a front row and back row sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the Z-axis exists in 2D. It's just in a very funny way. Like, if you go against a wall, Mario will still be against this wall, but sometimes the game just decides to teleport you to the center of the room again. But majority of the time, a lot of glitches exploit this with switching to 3D to align yourself against the 3D wall on the left and right, and then you switch back into 2D to do an action that will allow you to get out of bounds through that wall. So it's pretty fundamental for 3D movement to be used for speedruns, but for the casual player, it's just, you could just play who you want, and you can play as Peach, you can play who you want, you don't have to switch to anything special, you just go through the game and just use your abilities where you need to. And these Tyloids, as they're called, they suck, and they have a curse from a certain Italian guy where you always get last keyed.
Yeah, do they kind of work like Pac-Man ghosts? Are they the different colors gonna different behaviors?
Yeah, it's just speed related though. Some of them have higher health. The green ones have 6 health. The blue ones have, I believe, 12. The yellow ones have like somewhere between like, it's somewhere around 9, I think. And then the red ones have the most at like 25 or 20. And then the blue ones are the slowest, green ones are average, red ones are just slightly above average, and then the yellow ones are Sonic.
Hey look, we got last keyed.
Yes.
And we're back to ninjas. Silly guys.
We also have these like skeleton looking guys here.
Yeah.
They have a really nice hitbox.
Yeah, unfortunately you can't jump on them as well as you can with other enemies, but they have 10 HP. It's just 1 boomer and 1 bounce. So you could just jump on them once and then use boomer. It's the fastest way of killing them until you have 10 attack, which is at 200k points. So thankfully, when those spiky guys are a lot more common in the 80s and 90s, we'll be able to one-shot them with boomer. So that won't be too big of a problem. Here's another enemy of what was Nintendo smoking when they were designing these guys. They basically are just rectangles that stretch out and hit you.
I mean, you know, they had a couple enemies that were like this already. They were in crunch time. They didn't have time to develop proper art assets.
Oh, they were definitely not under a sane person for these enemy designs. They went full bore 4-year-old with a pencil crayon.
Well, let's say, wasn't Kensuke Tanabe one of the major producers for Nintendo at this point in time? Like, relatively early in his career as a main producer.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying, you want to talk about other games that RPG speedrunners love that are under his purview, stuff like Mother 3, I think.
Yeah, I just don't know who was on Sprite, the lead sprite designer for this game, because we have the turbos that are farting butts, we have rectangles that stretch out and hit you. They have these things that are just like... What was it? I forgot their names. Dang it. What are they called?
Look, we can have a little potty humor as a treat.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they are. There's no other way of seeing them.
Walking Pez dispensers.
Yeah, the walking Pez dispensers. I mean, thankfully they brought back some old Mario enemies like the Clubbas and Goombas and Koopas.
Yeah,
those are basically
I was going to mention Clubbas when we came across it. I love the Spike family.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's just the weird ones.
Hey, well, there's nothing wrong with being weird.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with being weird. It's just when you're annoying, that's when it's the problem.
Fair enough.
Majority of them are. So the 70s room, they're basically just not too difficult of enemies. They mostly come from Chapter 7, which is a lot of like cloud-based enemies, things that fly, things that you wouldn't expect that would fit. I was
gonna say, I like that the background tableaus show where you are in the game progression, or where the enemies are coming from.
Yeah, every 25 floors the room changes, or the background changes. Sorry, and the Flipside Pit has the first 4 chapters, and the Flopside Pit has the last 4 chapters, which is pretty cool. Actually, no, it's Flipside through Chapter 7. There is no Chapter 8 in a row. So, either way, it's split up between the pits. They're very nice looking.
Nice also that we didn't have to deal with that room full of curses.
Oh, the curses are easy to avoid. It's just... those are one of those rooms where it's super satisfying to get the Super Boomer thing where it wipes them all out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something I never get the timing on, so I don't usually go for it. But it's a really cool strat.
Unlike the room full of coppers here. This is just...
Yes.
Yeah, this room sucks. Like, they flip into 3D unexpectedly, and then they're just on the other side of this wall where it's completely blocked off. Usually you always have to flip to get those keys. Sometimes the door's over there too, which is really dumb. But genuinely, it's not that bad. Just don't worry about the time lost per room, just worry about getting through and living.
Right. As any speedrunner will tell you, consistency is most important.
Consistency is key, except when it's R&D.
Yeah.
Oh, double hit glitch right there.
I don't like this room.
I don't like it either. Thankfully, we got a myriad of heals and a life shroom. So, we will be okay. We will not die in this run.
Okay. When I first ran this category, this room killed me both times that I died. I didn't actually finish a run. Yeah, I didn't finish a run until my 3rd attempt.
My first run was, it actually wasn't too bad. It was just like your typical new runner time, just like an average 130. Played on Wii Disc. The good old classic days, not knowing any strategies, just jumping on anything that moves.
Yeah.
Hey, if you are playing the game and your intention is to go fast, no matter how you do it, you're still speedrunning. That is extremely valid.
So, yeah, cool little strategy here. Those magic blocks, they will spawn behind you. If you are on a 4-block ledge like that, and you are able to easily combo like all of them at the same time, and it is just free points, and sometimes you just get the key for free, and it's really crucial to getting level ups, especially when you're about to approach low HP. Like normally those heals would not exist, and you would still be at like 5 HP here. Getting those points is very crucial to level up. And thankfully, we're about to level up to 200k as well, so we'll have another attack level. We'll be able to one-shot the majority of these enemies. 79, oh dang. If only you had the level up now, you would just be able to one-shot all of them.
Yeah. That's okay.
It's okay, because you will get the key right here. Yup.
Alright, on to the 80s.
Yeah, the 80s are an interesting set of rooms. This is where a hot sauce comes into play, or a double damage item. Usually, like I said before, you want to use this in room 86. And you can also sometimes use things like ice storms and thunder rages, but usually you want to save that for a specific room in the 90s. So if you have a double attacking item, it's best to use that instead, and it will help you defeat a lot of the Koopa Trolls and Magikoopas in that room. And this is another one of those rooms where you can just combo the Magiblots. A good combo there, awesome. Unfortunately, no key. It's probably in that squig in the top left.
Of course it is.
Sounds about right.
Story of a Pit Percent runner's life. Just gotta be zooming with the intention of zooming to be speedrunning. Exactly. Pink fuzzies, they're pretty cute. Oh yeah, this room is all pink. Huh. I never truly realized that until now. As stupid as that sounds. And there's our second rendition of the Schlorps. They take 2 boomer hips if none of these guys have the key, which hopefully they do, because that would suck if they didn't. Nice. Good key.
Yeah.
So, coming up, this is room 85, I believe. Yeah, room 85. So, Poison Pokies are another one of those enemies where if you kill them, they have a 100% drop rate of an item, and sometimes it can be a good item. So when you get poison like this, you just pick up whatever heal it drops and you use it, and no more poison. So thankfully, they designed these enemies well, but it is a little bit cheap. It makes the poison kind of useless sometimes, but hey, Pit Percent, you'll take what you can get. And here is the famous room of 86.
I just want to wait because the hot sauce doesn't really last very long.
Yeah, you want to use it around a lot of Koopa Trolls. So thankfully this will take them out very fast.
Come on. And it's already gone.
Yeah, and it's gone. It's really dumb how short the hot sauce is, but it still helps with a lot of boss battles in the game. As I discovered, it actually saves around 10 seconds in the Chapter 4 boss battle just because you have 7 attack power instead of 2. Which is ridiculous. That's a lot more than double.
Yeah.
Triple even.
As the memes say. Whoa, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah. But thankfully we're out of that room. The key was genuinely in a reasonable position for 86, so we were able to get out of it fast. Thankfully we didn't get a last key, which I can tell you sucks, to say the least. And basically the rest of these rooms are pretty easy to do. They're just enemies you've already seen, like ninjas. They could be annoying, but as long as you know what you're doing, you shouldn't be surprised with anything that's coming from the game. Unless it's something like a double input or the double hit glitch.
Oh. I guess I'm not going to use the item that I thought I was going to use in this room.
Yeah, so the shell shock, we were supposed to go up on top of the room and use it, and it would wipe out everything on the top left and the bottom, and you would get around 80,000 points. But fortunately, we do not need to do that. So
Hey.
it's a bit of a risk to not use the shell shock. I personally just use it regardless, just to be safe. You don't lose that much time from using it. It's honestly just a safety barrier to make sure you get through the last rooms. But since we have so many heals, it does not matter, and we're actually just saving a lot of time. So all those times all the time we've lost buying heals actually gets saved from getting that key.
Believe it or not, I'm actually on PvP.
Good.
Yo. Let's get it. Finish out strong. You got this.
How far ahead are you?
9 seconds.
Ooh.
It probably won't happen, but I just thought that was interesting.
I believe.
All right, Ninjaries, get heck.
There's one Ninjari up there. He's gatekeeping the door. If I had to guess, I think the key is in the bottom guy. That's what my mind is telling me. Yeah, these guys just jump around. They're just being stupid. It's really hard to hit them sometimes, no matter what you do. Got a nice shroom shake, though. So, free heals. And thankfully, the key was up there. That one guy at the bottom could have been the fun troll. Here we have a combination of Cursias, Ninjaris, and the Spikies. Please heal. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know, I'm not going to say
That
this
was
happens to me a
scary.
lot while hosting, but I will say that the very first time I ever hosted for a marathon was a Metroid Prime run at GDQ, and the runner was at 1 HP for like 30 seconds, so I'm not entirely unfamiliar with this sort of thing.
No, whenever it is the scariest thing to be in low HP, because you do not know if you will just get the double hit glitch, or if someone like a unexpected magic blot does 5 damage to you and you're just dead for no reason. There's also times where Hammer Bros can just throw hammers from the top ropes and just hit you while you're on the bottom.
Yep.
Very
I do have
many
a life
ways you can
shroom.
die. Yeah, you do have a life shroom, but I mean, usually the strategy with the life shroom is just to YOLO it. Just don't heal until you use the life shroom. But keeping the life shroom for later is always a good tactic, especially if you have a lot of heals during a marathon. So there's nothing wrong with just playing it safe. And good key there, like 4th enemy out of the 20 in this room. And we are at 96, which is just 4 bros throwing hammers, or throwing boomerangs and fireballs. He has a 25% chance, since there are 4 enemies. So you could basically turn down statistics and just go for the best pathing of what you think the key would be. Of course, you still can't 100% predict it, but there are a lot of strategies where you can take the RNG you have and make it fast, depending on where enemies spawn and where your doors are. A lot of strategizing. Unless you're room 97, where the enemy is always in the top left, a squiglet, and it always has the key. Not sure why this is in room 97, but it is one of those haha funny rooms where it makes no sense.
You can have exactly 1 breather.
Yep. And here, red chomps. These guys have a lot of HP and defense. So, unfortunately, I do not think we have any items that will help us defeat these guys. So we are gonna unfortunately just have to boomer them 3 times and then they will die. Hopefully they have the key. Oh, it's 4 times. Oof. Yeah. Genuinely, you want something like a Thunder Rage or an Ice Storm that will instantly take out these guys, because you can lose a lot of time in this room.
Fire Burst does not work on them. I learned that the hard way.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Fire Burst does not work, unfortunately. Fire Burst does not pierce through defense. And of course, it's a last key. That is so unfortunate.
Yeah, no PV, Sag, but that's okay.
It's okay. Next time. Either way, this is a really good run, despite going for safe strats.
Honestly, yeah.
And room 99, I don't know why this room is labeled as obnoxious. This is probably one of the easiest rooms in the game. You just bait the magic blots into the corner and you just kill them like this. I mean, yeah, they can hit you, but like what Cats is doing here is perfect. Free level up, free key. Why is this labeled as obnoxious?
Alright.
And we are
Room
now
100.
on to the final room with the final boss. Can anyone guess what it is?
I mean, everybody who's been speaking up in chat definitely already knows, but
Whoa!
Go,
Didn't
it's a-
see that coming.
it's an old friend.
It's his girlfriend. So, pretty much a literal carbon copy of the Fractale Fright from Chapter 1. Except
Tippy
instead of
does
free
say
hits-
that Ragtail is the prototype of Fractale, so
Yeah. Instead of 3 hits per cycle, it is 10 hits per cycle. But thankfully, we can do a technique where, since we have Peach, we can float across and actually land on the antenna and just bounce 10 times on it very quickly to finish the last 2 cycles. But unfortunately, for the first cycle, you just have to throw all the guys into them like normal. And this boss takes just 3 minutes to do, or 2 minutes to do, and then the last minute is just getting Dashel. And then once you enter the final pipe, that will be time, and the speedrun will have be over. English 100.
I understood. Perfect.
I do have Fire Burst here to help.
Yes, fire bursts do help. I would suggest, well, you do what you want. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna like coach you. But usually the strategy is to throw enemies into them 5 times and then use the fire burst. It's also, there's a really bad glitch where if you switch to Peach at the wrong time during the loop, you will fall through and lose 2 minutes.
Ah, yeah. That sounds ungood.
So, thankfully, Cat switched before he does the looping attack, and we will be able to do the funny cycle jump hits with Peach, since she can float. The only one of 2 times where Peach is useful in this game.
Dang.
It's very unfortunate the character balancing in this. I mean, there's literally a skip that we do to skip Peach in Chapter 7. This goes to show that you don't need her throughout the rest of the game. And we'll get final
Alright.
10 hits, and there we go.
GG.
Time is when the screen goes completely black from the pipe fade out.
Yeah, I'll say when time is.
Oh yeah, right, I forgot there's no Discord screen share. Oops.
Yeah, so from beating the pit, you get Dashel, which is a pixel that makes you run faster.
Yep, double your speed.
Wouldn't it be great for the rest of the run if Dashel was literally anywhere else?
I did some firm calculations, and even at task level, if you had the perfect RNG in the pit, you would lose 10 minutes to not getting Dashel. Nice.
GG.
135. Hold on, the mainstream is so far behind. What?
I have 135, 34 on my timer.
Yeah, that looks about right.
Nice.
GG's.
GG's. Good run.
Well done. Any shout outs for the community for getting people into Paper Mario? Anything else you'd like folks to know about?
Yeah, we have a really awesome community. If you go to the SRC page on speedrun.com, you'll find a link to the Discord. You'll see the leaderboards. We actually have emulator now, so you can actually run on emulator.
Hey, nice. Talk about accessibility stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, we just had the birthday races just 2 days ago. Yesterday they did any percent, and they did a pit% race on Friday. And yeah, we have a really awesome community, so just shout outs to everybody. All the runners.
Here you go.
Yeah.
All the runners who are over in chat, please give shout outs to yourself if you would like.
Absolutely.
Don't feel obligated. And shout outs, of course, also to Cats4ever and Sacred Ghost. Thank you very much, both of you, for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. Thanks for having.
Our pleasure. Alrighty, folks. We're going to take a brief moment to get our next run set up. That's going to be, a run full of cuties, I'm told. No, wait. Sorry, the game is called QT, but we're going to have Pakal, who I hear is also one of those cuties, and all of you cuties in chat for a full game, all achievements run of QT coming up in just a little bit. Stick around. Friends, as we get things going for the next run, make sure that our runner is ready to go, that the game is ready to go for them. Then as we get things ready to present to you, I just want to remind you that Corathon was put together as an impromptu event. It was basically just like, hey, there is this need. Our organizers decided, what can we do? Who do we know? And made all of this happen. But they want they want you to know that it would not have been possible without the help of the volunteers, the runners who graciously stepped up to provide runs and entertainment to make this happen, and most importantly, you, our viewers, our donors, our friends. We appreciate any and all support you can show Cora in her time of need, so we can help someone move to a place that respects and protects marginalized communities. You can go ahead and type !schedule in chat to see the remainder of the runs that you can look forward to this weekend. And in addition to helping support an amazing cause, you can type !incentives in chat to see open incentives that you can support with your donations. !donate will show you how to do that through either of the two means we have available. That's a GoFundMe campaign and Cora's Venmo directly. Either will work. If you are able to, if you wish to, you can identify yourself with that donation. You can add a comment that talks about what incentives you would like things to go to, like the Adopt a Pet bid war for the upcoming Stardew Valley run, which is currently at $10, which I believe would be in favor of Cat, although I don't know if we're allowed to double dip. That donation was actually mine, so I'll look into that and get back to you as soon as I can. But we are on our way towards adopting a pet for all 4 of our runners. If that's something that you would like to see as well, you can put !donate into the chat and take a look at the options for donating. And don't forget to put the comment along with your donation, which is essentially going to be the comment for your donation to go into our tracker so we can read it off on the air. Don't feel obligated. Donations without comments mean just as much to us. And if you just want to put it towards an incentive and you don't need a comment, you're welcome to reach out to me. Any of those comments from a tea tree in the Twitch chat, you can just click on that and send me a direct message. I'd be happy to help get things put towards an incentive. We also have, for the Stardew Valley, there is that pet bid war. So once I know more about whether that donation for adopting can also go to the bid war, I'll give you an update on that. And then for the Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker run coming up a little bit later on, we have a file name bid war with options wide open. A Metroid Dread run that's going to have a boss rush, which has already graciously been met, so look forward to that. And a The World Ends With You final remix run, where we get to decide with your donations between listening to the original soundtrack or the new and updated remixed soundtrack. I'm not familiar with the remix soundtrack. I played the original rather a lot back in college, so if you want to show me what I missed out on, you could make a donation towards the remix soundtrack, and we can get that going later on tonight during our any% normal run of The World Ends With You final remix.